Hi, in this chapter we are going to learn how we can take the inputs from the user. So in Python, basically developers often need to take the inputs from the users. Okay, so in that case, how we can take it up? So that's we are going to learn in this session. So the Python uses the inbuilt function input. If you can see here, input. Okay, so I'll tell. Let's understand it with the help of the example. So let's say I have a variable name and I wanted a name to be as an input. I wanted the name to be provided by the user. For that, I have to provide a inbuilt function input, and it should be in the small letters as the Python is case sensitive. So here you can mention enter your name. Okay, and that's it. You have to press print name, whatever you wait for the name to be input by the user, and then you have to press print it. So let's execute it. See, it is asking for the name to be entered by the user. So here it is in the terminal. You have to provide your name. Let's say I provided, and when I hit enter, the name is printed over here. But you see the name, it is asking in the same line. If you want it to be in the next line, so what you can do, you have to add a new line character here. Just that's it. If you see here now, even if I click here, it is taking the input from the next line. So here when I as a user I have input, I have given the name as an input, hit enter. Now the output is coming as the same name. Okay, so let's suppose if I talk about and if you wanted to by default in Python, whatever the input which we are getting from the user, that is of the types string. Okay, so if you wanted to see what is the type of this input which I am getting from the user, you can see the type of name. If you execute it, here you can see if I give my name here and if I execute, you can see output is coming as the same which has been provided by the user, and the class is str. Even if you have a requirement to get the numbers from the user, you can see that that numbers is also the type of the number is also a string in the backend. So let me demonstrate that. So here let me see, I want number to be entered by the user. Enter num1. Okay, let's say, and I wanted it that's fine. I wanted in the same line, and if I wanted to print this num1, and I wanted to see what is the type also of num1. So let's execute it to see. Okay, it's asking for the name because we have this here. Okay, let's do it quickly. mm, Class str. Now it is asking, the second is asking for the enter num1. So it is asking for the enter num1. So let me give the number 2. If I execute, you can see the class is still str, although I have provided, the user has provided the number 2. Okay, so this is the problem if you wanted to sum the two values. Let's say if I have these values, if I have number 2 and I have number 3, and I wanted a sum of number 1 plus num 2, and let me this rename it as number 2, and here also number 2. Let me remove this so that we have a clean code. So let me demonstrate it how the type string will work with a integer number. So here you can see, if I try to do this, and if I wanted to get the value what I am having in number 3. Okay, if I execute it, so what I am trying to do is, I have a number 1, I wanted a first number to be entered, the class is str. Okay, and the second number also I wanted to get it added by or provided by the user. I choose the value 3. You can see the summation, you can see it's 2 3, although the 2 plus 3 is equal to 5, but it is giving 2 3. That means it is concatenating. It is by from the backend, it is taking as a string str class. So that's why it is concatenating it. Yeah, although it is not given the any error, but it is giving the concatenate. So how we can do it? If you say that let's typecast it over here. Okay, and that will resolve a problem. So that will not resolve a problem, but let me show you. Still this will not solve a problem. See, still it is answer is 23. It is concatenating. So typecasting over here, num1 num2 will not is not the solution. So what we can do, so at that time of taking an input from the user itself, that time we can typecast the values. So let's say I wanted the input, whatever the input provided by the user, let's typecast over that time. So here you can see all I have to do is enclose this entire input into the typecast function int. Okay, because I wanted to convert it into int, so I use the int. If I wanted have a requirement to convert into float, I would have used the float. Okay, so let's change it into int. Now I have typecasted both inputs as an integer, and now I'm trying to see what is the type, as well as I wanted to perform an addition operation. Let's see what is the result this time. So first number 2, you can see the change class is now changed from str to int. Now it is taking as an int because we have typecast the input. Now the second variable is 3, and you can see it is giving the output as a 5. 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. So that way you have to typecast the input, if you, because everything whatever the input you got it from the user, that is considered in the Python as a string. Okay, so this way, and you can get the inputs from the user. Now coming to how this is something we have learned about, how we can get the input from the user, single inputs. But let's say if we have a requirement, we wanted to take the multiple inputs from the user. In that case, how we can do it? There are two ways Python provides us, that is split function and the list comprehension. Okay, using the split function we can get the multiple inputs from the user, and also the list. So list comprehension is a little bit advanced, but I would like to cover it. If you if you okay, it's fine. So let first we will cover the split function. So this function is basically helps in generating the multiple inputs from the user. Basically what it does is it breaks the given input by specified separator. Okay, so if you see here, this is the parenthesis. Inside that we have we can provide the separator, and using that separator it will separate the inputs which we got from the users. But in case when there is no input from where is no parameters or separator in the split function, in that case by default it will take the white space or the blank space as a separator. Okay, so if you wanted to see what is a syntax, if I told you about that, so it would be like, first you have to provide the input function. Okay, then you have to split it down, whatever the input you got it from the user, you have to split it down, and here you have to provide first parameter as a separator, and second would be the maximum limit. Okay, maximum split, how you can do it. So this is a syntax. Let me demonstrate it with the help of example. So let's say I wanted to take the two inputs from the user and wanted to save it into two variables. So I take the two variables x comma y equal to, I wanted to take the input from the user, so I use the input function, and here I type enter the, or enter two values. Let's keep it simple like this. If you wanted to get the values in new line, you can use it, but I will keep it simple here, and I make a one space here. Now all you have to do it, you have to use the split function. So here you can see, when I click on you can see here next split self separator. So here we will use, as of now we will not use any separator, nothing. So if I wanted to print this, okay, so how you can print this? First, let's say first number, I just wanted to make, and here I need to comma and x. So same thing, I need to print the second number. Okay, and here y. So let me delete this so that we will get a clear picture. Here you can see, if you try to run this, so it's asking me for two variables. So if I press 2, okay, and then if I enter, press 3 and hit enter, first number equal to 2 and second number is 3. So this way you will get the two values in the one line only. You can see 2 space 3. So this way we can get the two values or three values. Let's suppose if you wanted one more values to get it right. So here let me write three values, okay, and here let me print one more third, let's say third number, and let me print it as z. Okay, and if you wanted to run, so here you can see 2 3 4, you can see first number 2 3 4. So this way you can get the multiple values, from the users. But yes, this is, I have hard coded 3 values, 4 values, right? But what if you wanted a multiple values, right? I mean instead of hard coding it like 3 values, 4 values, how you can pass the multiple. See, to get the multiple values, what will happen is, you have to typecast it into the list. Okay, so what we can do here, let's create one variable lst. Okay, and let's say here we have input, and we can write it here like enter multiple values. So I would like to take the multiple values from the user, multiple, sorry for my spelling mistake, multiple. Okay, multiple values, and I'll give one space over here. Okay, after colon and this double quote, and after that I have to use the split, as we know. And after that, what we need to do, because we need this value, first we will typecast it into int. So enclose this entire input inside the int function, and after that you have to change it into the list. So for that you have to map it first. Okay, so enclosed everything inside the map function, and then enclosed everything inside the list function, list. Okay, so here enclose everything inside the list. So this is the way you can get the multiple values and convert it into the list. So let me try to print this value lst, and before that we can write list of input numbers. Okay, and here we will put lst. It's okay, keep it 3 values. Okay, here is the problem. See, lst is not defined. Did you mean list? Oh, as I said you, right? lst is not small, it's not capital letter, it's small letter, so we have to be very very sure about it. So see, now it turned into the blue. When I use this capital L, it was not turned into the blue, it is like red line. I can see over here there is an error, that means. So if I turn it, I try to execute it one more time. Again we have to, three numbers, enter the multiple values. See, now we need to add multiple values, and if I execute, the int argument must be string, a byte like object, or a real number, not list. So we have a problem here. What it is saying, a int argument must be a string. Let's try to execute one more time. Let me remove it to simplify this. Let's execute one more time. Enter the multiple values and split. There is something issue. Okay, so now the issue resolved. The problem was I have used the space between the numbers and this colon. So if I remove this space, if I try to execute it one more time, it is asking me the multiple values. And if I hit enter, it is giving me all the values in the form of list. You can see 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. It is coming in the form of the list. So you can ask the multiple values to be added by the user, to be provided by the user, split it down with the space, and as we have not provided a separator, so it will take a space as a separator, and then it convert into the integer, and then it will convert into the complete list. So this way you can get the multiple inputs from the user with the help of split function. So okay, and with the help of split function, and it into the list. Okay, sorry for that. Now coming to the list comprehension. So split function we know. Now coming to the, this is a little bit advanced and very very elegant way to provide to get the multiple values from the users. Okay, so this is something, create a list. This will create a list in the Python in run. We can create a list just like mathematical statements we have in one line only. Okay, so list comprehension, let me click comprehension. Using comprehension, we will take the multiple inputs. How we can do it? So it's giving a, let's give one error, one space here. So how we can get it? Let's suppose as we did earlier, let's mention two variables x comma y, and we have to be, we can say int x for x in, and here you have to ask for input, enter two values, let's say, and here give the colon, give one space here. Okay, and after input you have to split it down with a split, with a blank separator, and there we go. So we have first number as first we can say number x, and here the second would be. So what I'm doing here, I'm going to explain it a little bit. Let me write it down on code quickly. So see what I'm doing here is, it is actually what I'm doing is I'm asking a two values, split it down with a separator, and I'm asking the values for x. Okay, convert it into, so I need the values, okay, for x, and convert it into, typecast it into integer values, and in the form of list. So this is nothing but a list. You can see everything, all the code is enclosed inside the list. So if I tries to run it, let me what we can do, let me comment it out, comment this code as well. I want this code to be execute only. So here you can see two values, so let's say 2 and 5, and if I execute, you can see number x 4 and number 5 is stored into the variable y. So here you can see the values which I got it from the user is in the form of the list, okay, 4 and 5, and for each of the values which we got from the user, okay, convert it into the integer data type and then print it. So this is the way we have to do it. Let's suppose here I have mentioned the two values, right? Similarly you can mention the three variables also, let's say here, and you can mention here 3. Okay, similarly as we did in the split, here you can mention v. If you execute it one more time, so the same thing happen, you can see 3 5 6. So it took the values in the form of the list from the user, okay, converted into the list, and then iterated from the list and printed one by one. So this is the way we have to read it. Let's suppose if you wanted to get the multiple values, okay, with the from the user, and use the list comprehension to read the data. So how we can do it? Same, you have to just, for that only you have one variable, for I mean for the to get the multiple values, because we are going to iterate it, right? So only one variable is required. Keep everything inside the list. Wanted to change it into data type for x in the input which I'm going to get it from the user. So we can mention enter multiple values. So user is gonna put the multiple values, then I'm going to iterate it. Okay, then I'm going to iterate, convert it into data type, integer data type, and iterate it one by one, and I'm going to print this as x here. So let me execute this. The very first it is asking for the this one, so let's do it. And now you can see enter multiple value. If I enter multiple values, see it is coming in the form of 2 4 5 6 7 8. So you can see here you have this, you have to typecast the value, this the same thing. And here what you have to do, you have to use entire code inside the list comprehension. So there is a difference between the both, there are multiple ways of writing a code. So here you can see, here what you did is you get the multiple values and convert it into int, map it, and then enclosed inside the list. Here what we did, we used the list comprehension, and this code is little bit more elegant and cleaner way to write a code. So most of the advanced developers use this list comprehension process to get the multiple values from the user, but this is also very much good. So there is no problem to use this code as well to get the multiple values. So I hope you like this. Thank you.